was very nice.
Call the committee of the whole meeting to order for Tuesday, April 30th. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Rosato?
Here.
Atack? Here. Stark? Here. Chancet?
Here.
Salvati?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
O'Brien? Callahan?
Here.
Meitzler?
Here.
Malay?
Here.
Ewer?
Here.
Saron?
Here.
And McFadden?
Here. Okay, we have the necessary quorum to conduct business this evening. Second on the agenda is a reminder to please speak into the microphone so that VATV can get that out to the public and record it.
Can you please speak in your microphone so they can hear that?
Yes, I can. This one's different. I'm not used to be sitting up here, okay? Third on the agenda tonight is approve the minutes for March 26th, 2019, April 9th, 2019, April 16th, 2019, and April 23rd, 2019.
So
Do
moved.
you have any comments?
Second.
Okay, motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passed. Anybody against it? Okay. Moving on to item number 4, items removed, added, or changed. Do you have anything, Nick?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then we'll go on to matters from the public. Anybody from the public like to wish to address us? Good boy. Okay.
It's hardly public.
Next up will be the consent agenda. Two things on the consent agenda tonight. Ordinance 19-33, annexing and zoning 2 South 336, 2 South 335, and 2 South 248 Meadow Drive, and 34 West 930 Sunset Drive. Second thing is ordinance 19-34, annexing and zoning 921 and 934 Carlisle Road. Do you have anything?
Nothing on Shagbark here?
Not yet. That'll be other. Okay. Can I get a motion? So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up will be number 7, ordinance 19-36, updated 2019 wage and salary for non-collective bargaining employees. Wendy, you want to
All right, good evening.
take that?
As you may recall, we had a conversation, this is reflecting the change due to the restructuring of the streets division with this year's budget addition of the crew leader and the maintenance worker, and then the conversation of us is splitting up some of the duties. So as you may recall, the streets division will split and become a streets division as well as public properties and streets division. So there'll be 2 separate divisions under public works. And with this organizational change, the assistant street superintendent position will be eliminated. And then there will be a new public properties and services superintendent position. So you'll see those reflected in the ordinance. There's no changes in wages or salaries or anything. It's just a matter of them being reflected in the ordinance as listed in the proper pay grade. And then also as a housekeeping item is, as you may recall, the IS technician position was approved during the budget process last year. The ordinance was already approved at that time, so just as a housekeeping, that's also been added into the ordinance.
Awesome.
Does anybody have any questions?
Any question? Okay.
Everybody good with that? Okay.
Can this go on consent or should it be regular agenda for,
First, we have to have a motion.
oh, sorry.
So moved. I have a motion.
Second.
Sorry, I kept that up.
Let's do a
Yeah.
Wait a little bit longer.
Did you make the motion?
No. Dan made the motion.
Second.
Lucy made the
Okay,
second.
thank you.
Sorry.
Chancet and.
They're just trying to get out of here quick.
Sounds good.
Do a slow roll call.
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Okay. Chancet?
No.
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
O'Brien absent. Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Atack?
Aye.
And Stark?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Should we put that on as a consent agenda? Is that okay?
Not controversial.
What?
It's not controversial, so anyway.
Right, okay. I didn't know if we want to talk about the.
The restructuring,
position, the
yeah.
restructuring side of it, or you want to say anything about that, Gary, at the meeting, or should we just go through? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go on consent agenda, okay.
Okay. All right,
That's
thank
fine
you.
for me. All right. Next up would be project status.
Okay, we have a lot going on. One of the things that the fire department wanted to alert us to is that they're going to be conducting a hazmat team drill that they had planned for today, and that was great that they did that in light of the chemical spill that occurred last week and caused a very serious concern for a community. And so it's a very good thing that they were able to attend to that today. Also, we're going to be switching to new Starcom radio systems later this year. And as opposed to all of the various municipalities that are part of the Tri-City Ambulance, they applied for and were granted a FEMA grant. And so all of that equipment is being paid for through a grant. In community and economic development, the Raising Cane's restaurant building permit was received and comments were issued on Friday, and we're still awaiting them to file a permit for the demolition of the existing building. The Landmeyer Winding Creek annexation agreement was approved by the City Council on March 18th. That's for the subdivision that's going to go in behind the former Sam's Club. And they're working on getting the required signatures so that the document can be recorded. Today, they submitted for the final plat approval, which means that they are moving full speed ahead, which is great. Construction continues on the Funway project, and we expect that that will be completed around Memorial Day. And the platting of the Wilson Spuler parcel that was formerly city-owned, it had a water tower on it, and now Habitat for Humanity has plans for 4 houses to be put on that parcel. That was approved by the Plan Commission on April 3rd and was on the April 23rd Committee of the Whole meeting, and it will be on the City Council agenda for May 6th. Also, several meetings have been held to review our strategic plan goals. Last week, we had a meeting about process improvements. And then also this week, we had a meeting with not only staff, but also other stakeholders in the community to talk about the walking and biking routes through town and identify areas where there are potentials for conflict. And I would say that there were probably about 24 different areas that were identified as a result of that meeting. But it was really great to have Billy Kellum from the Streets Department there in that meeting, because as it turns out, there is signage that was put in place over the course of last year, and then also more that is being installed this season that is going to help a lot to direct bikers who are traveling on the river path to alert them to how to connect. You know, Batavia is unique because we're one of the only communities along the Fox River that have the path on both the east side and the west side. But it can sometimes be confusing for people who are using the paths on where do I go once I get off this walking bridge. Or so that signage is being improved. Another area of the community where people get confused is down by the Pomarco Drive. That's like the Pomarco driveway, Union Street, and then also the part of the bike path that goes along the wastewater treatment plant, which is open again, by the way, as of the end of last week. That portion of the path is open. But the signage down in that area has really become overgrown. And so the Streets Department has a work order to make the signage much more visible so that people realize that they should not travel on that private drive and that the bike path is over toward the east side. Another area where we're going to be installing signs is on the intersection of Wilson Street and Route 31. People who are pedestrians and are crossing on the north side of that intersection know that it can be rather scary to step off of that curb because it's set a little bit further north, and those who have the green light and are turning right sometimes don't contemplate that there could be a pedestrian in that in that crosswalk. And it's an area where we've had a number of near misses. Bill Kellum checked the MUTCD, and there is signage that can be added. Not only signage for the westbound traffic on Wilson Street to say, caution, there's a pedestrian crossing when you turn right here, but also a large sign that can be installed on the mast arm right ahead of them as they approach the intersection too. And I think they're more visible because they're a white background with black lettering and also red lettering on them as well, which I think at an intersection is a little bit more eye-catching than those that are the standard yellow and black. A similar situation is created when drivers are headed northbound on South River Street and want to make that left to go westbound on Wilson Street. If you recall when the Well Batavia was here, Abby Beck showed us the video that had been made with the grant money from AARP about walking and biking in downtown Batavia. And in the video, at one point, they're crossing the street there, and a left turner comes in and crosses right in front of them so that they have to stop. That's another area where we already have plans to increase the signage there and alert those who are turning left that they need to be aware of the pedestrians. Because of the configuration of that intersection, you're crossing from the west side of 25, but then you end up on the east side of North River Street when you use that crosswalk. So it's closer than a normal crosswalk would be if everything was, aligned in right angles. So that's an improvement that's in the works. Other areas, there were recommendations made about the possibilities of what might be done in order to improve safety. And our thought there was to put these ideas together and maybe have some storyboards that are reflective of these potential areas of conflict, and to host public meetings, at various times of day, so that if you're a person who commutes and you can only be here in the evening, you'd be able to put your 2 cents in on how you think that we might be able to improve the safety of those areas. Or if you can come in during the day, we want to have the option for you to come in and voice your opinions there. So that will be the next stage of the project. And then in the background of all that is wayfinding. So as part of our discussions, we're trying to determine where best to place wayfinding so that all these people who are walking and biking and using their vehicles to get to our downtown are alerted to all of the fabulous amenities that we have in our downtown that they should be partaking of. In Public Works, there was discussion that Wendy was talking about the reorganization of the Streets Division into 2 different divisions. Streets, which has a lot on their plates and everything from the maintenance work that's done on our streets and our sidewalks, snow plowing in the wintertime, and then also a Public Properties and Services Division that is going to have responsibility for all the different city properties. They would take primary responsibility for the downtown area as well as other properties that the city maintains, such as its cemeteries. It would also have charge of forestry throughout our community, and that is one of the wonderful assets that I think sometimes goes unseen, is the incredible collection of very mature trees that we have. And that doesn't happen by accident. It's important to have an inventory of those trees. Those trees have a lifespan, and that the city needs to stay on top of maintenance of those so that they can continue to be an enhancement in our community. Major projects are getting ready for construction. Bids were open for the Area 3 drainage project, and construction is expected to commence in midsummer after we have all the final IEPA loan approvals. And then construction of the Ward 1 drainage improvements is scheduled to commence in early May with an estimated completion date of July 4th. The annual sidewalk repair and replacement program is underway and actually nearing completion. I think they're doing a really nice job. The streets that I see in my neighborhood being repaired, other than the color of the sidewalk, it's a nice flat run of sidewalk, which is really great. And then also construction at the wastewater treatment facility has finally progressed to the point where they're bringing some of the new treatment processes online. Last week I visited there, and we have just the first sludge digester has been seeded with organisms this past week, and it's going to take several weeks for it to become fully established. But this digester is going to work so much more efficiently that 40% less sludge will be created from our process, which is really an incredible improvement, and that means that we will have to pay far less for taking that material off-site. And then finally, good news, we have filled our communications coordinator position. The gentleman's name is Griffin Price, and he was most recently the marketing and promotions manager for the Village of Lombard Park District. But he grew up right here in Batavia, and he could not be more happy and eager to be coming back to his hometown and to serve in the role as our communications coordinator. So we look forward to him joining our team on May 13th. And that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions about particular projects.
Questions, Marty?
Do you maybe want to mention the Speedway reminder on that one?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. It was brought up at a previous meeting that there might have been, as part of the Speedway development, a promise that a windmill could be placed on their property. And in fact, that is true. There is a 10 by 10 foot easement that is right near that corner. And also they had provided $3,000 in funding. And as you know, we have several windmills that currently we do not have a place to display. So among them, the two windmills that were acquired from Bob and Francine Popick's collection. So perhaps this might be a perfect location for one of those, with some complimentary signage guiding people to historic downtown Batavia. And also wanted to mention that Friday and Saturday is the citywide garage sale. There are dozens of locations for the garage sale. You can visit the city's website, and on the homepage, there's a link to an interactive map, so you can, route your progress through all of these various garage sales. The cool thing is that the money raised goes to the Batavia fireworks, and the Batavia fireworks are among the region's most large and incredible displays, along with the community bands playing patriotic music, and it's choreographed also to music that plays during the fireworks display. But not one dime of tax dollars is used to pay for that fabulous fireworks show. It's 100% donations from the community, from corporate partners, and from hosting events like the citywide garage sale. So that's a pretty cool thing.
I understand today we've got over 160.
It was 166 when I did the map on Sunday, and we've added 3 more.
Oh, so it's 169.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hope for good weather.
Yep. Fingers crossed, good weather.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like it's clearing up.
A lot better than last week.
Yes. No snow.
We'll move on to others. Does anybody have any others? I have 2. First one is the stop signs out at the high school on either side, whether it be on Wilson Street and Western or Main Street. We got an email about some issues at the one at Millview and Main where people just fly right through it. If there aren't kids out there trying to walk across the street, I've been witness to both sides of it. People going either east or west, especially early in the morning, be around 7, just fly right through the stop sign on Main Street. Is there any way we can get the flashing sign? Do we have a couple of those signs?
I can talk to Chief Ewell about that.
Okay. And Gary, I just wondered if we still had those. I know we had several, or at least.
This ultimately would be council's decision, but
Okay.
the answer is that the flashing stop signs are really expensive, like
Okay.
to the tune of $4,000 or $5,000 a piece, as opposed to a regular stop sign, which is hundreds of dollars a piece. And it's a very slippery slope if you start installing flashing signs at one intersection and not at other intersections.
Okay.
You will soon have a line of people at the podium wanting a flashing stop sign in front of their house.
Because I know we used that when we first
use
put
them-
signs out.
Exactly, that's exactly when
Okay.
we use them, is to bring the attention to
Okay.
people when we first install stop signs. And we staff has always recommended against their widespread dispersal due to
Okay.
cost.
But do we have one, like if we put a new sign up on the street? Do
We have them,
For that,
like the
okay.
last one I can remember is right down here on South Shumway.
Some way that was used, okay. Because that was going to be my thing, is if that doesn't sound like a great option to do that, maybe we have to have the police department step up.
Yes.
enforcement there.
Yeah.
The other one that's really bad is at McKee Street and Van Ortwick in the morning. People fly right through that going east. And I don't think it's the sunlight or anything going east. I think it's people busy doing something else on their way to work in the morning.
Maybe underneath it, we could put, it says stop. We could say, no, really, stop.
Not optional.
My fear is I'm out in the customer's car at that point driving through that. If it was my own, I'd probably just pull out in front of somebody and then green. A little bit more obvious.
No passive aggressiveness there.
That was part of the reason why I
Let's try
wanted that
enforcement.
driveway left on the north side of McKee, was that was a popular landing place for the police.
Oh, the police
to
to
sit
sit
there
there.
and observe.
Yeah.
Quick question on that. I think it's right by the post office. There's a stop sign that's got a little, looks like a wind-powered, spinny, eye-catchy thing on it.
I asked the same thing.
Squirrel. Yeah. Is that a potential option, or is that?
Those are actually on, that. I think that one is on the, is that one on like the preceding sign? It's not on the regulatory sign. It can't be on the regulatory sign, which is the stop sign itself.
Oh.
The only thing on a regulatory stop sign post can be a regulatory stop sign. You can't have anything supplemental except the all-way or four-way. That's the only supplemental that's allowed.
That's the don't block the box thing, right?
Right.
Those balloon blow. Which to your point, though, if there was ever to be a case made for a place for a flashing stop sign, both of those streets next to the high school, you can make a great case because of the long stretch at the high rate of speed and then the demand for a complete stop. That actually makes sense to place them there. It really does.
And the sun's always straight
Yeah.
line.
And those pesky kids.
Yeah. Well, the kids don't look. I mean, they truly don't look when they cross the street. But I will say that I think the drivers pay more attention when there's kids out there. When there are no kids walking across the street, that's when people just fly right through it. So those are something I think, if you would put that to the.
Absolutely.
Ask for more enforcement.
Enforcement, I'd be
Yeah.
happy to.
It has become odd around town, though, that stop signs have become very optional. I mean, when I cross the street here, right in front of the police department, people just roll through the stop sign all day long. And it's shocking to me because it doesn't matter where you are in town, people just roll through the stop signs. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how that's happened.
They all have those white lines.
It's hard to stop.
Is that what it is?
Until that's optional.
Optional, okay.
Okay. And we have another other.
Another other.
I have two.
So as we approach the end of the school year, it had been our intention to renew the Slow Down campaign. And so I just wanted to make sure everybody is still on board with that. We'll probably purchase another 100 signs and offer those to, but I know that there were a lot of people who just put them away and intend to put them back out in their yard. It went pretty well last time, asking people to put them away. There were just, I would say, less than a dozen that were still out there that Rhonda had to maybe remind people.
Some of them migrated to other towns.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
We did it at the beginning of the school year.
I don't want to design another sign by committee, but I wouldn't be upset if there was a redesign.
Amen.
Agreed.
Talk to the guy.
The word stop should be larger than the word please.
Okay.
The last others that I have is through social media and through some personal contact, I had somebody talk about this. I think it's at the corner of Shagbark and 25. That's not within the city, correct?
Correct.
So
Right.
it's not our job to fix it, or
We can't step up.
There's been a surprising number of correspondence on this particular topic.
yeah,
It is not within the city.
Right.
It is strictly a township/IDOT issue, and we have no authority, no jurisdiction, no influence whatsoever.
Okay.
We did forward the person on and give the person the
Okay.
IDOT contact information.
Well, that was nice.
Then he contacted me and expressed how the city was trying to pass the buck. So then I called him back personally, and he didn't answer the phone, but I left him a long protracted voice message in which I restated
With the history.
the city of Batavia had absolutely no jurisdiction. He's out of luck with us. I even pointed out to him that if you looked in front of his house, the North Aurora Fire Department has their house numbers in front of every house there. So if he were in Batavia, he wouldn't have those house number signs on everybody on the street, so.
At the request of Alderman Shanzat, I also did the research too. It was clear to me that based on the GIS that the intersection itself is actually a state intersection, so it's probably not the township's jurisdiction. So we suggested they contact Karina Villa, who is the state representative. They can't get satisfaction with IDOT. But also with the annexation recently with North Aurora, the actual intersection technically is now in the village of North Aurora. So it's really their issue to deal with.
Geez, I wonder why you thought we were all passing it around.
I'll get another one to throw it out to. So.
yeah.
Love when our plan comes together.
Anybody else have any others? Okay. We now have an executive session for personnel.
Ellen, I would recommend that because it's allowed, we invite the newly elected representatives to join executive session tonight.